best way to start any recipe is by doing your mise en place, a term that means getting your ingredients ready before you start cooking. I usually start off with grabbing 2 onions, some cumin powder, some coriander seeds, some garam masala, which is a traditional Indian spice blend, some turmeric powder. I usually use avocado oil, but any neutral oil would work, some salt, some basmati rice, but yet again any type of rice would work, and some frozen peas. And of course the star of the show, the paneer. You can use any paneer you'd like, but don't use frozen. Frozen's not good. I start off by cubing my paneers into like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cubes. It is important to understand that whenever referring to an action of cutting, chopping, dissolving, or moving, I'm referring to a physical change. A physical change is a change that alters a substance without altering its composition. This basically refers to any change that does not involve one or more substances turning into other substances. So in practice, cutting this paneer into cubes does not alter the substance composition, it only changes it from one size and shape to another, making it a physical change. Once you finish chopping your paneer, reach for the onions next. Now everybody loves chopping onions, but this is how I do it. I kind of like dice it into half moons, I call them, and then I send one slice through the middle, then I dice them into little like chunks. Now the only problem with dicing an onion like this is it makes you cry a lot, as seen right here. So sometimes I just prefer to do it the easier way. And voila, not gonna lie, thought that would look a lot cooler. Now why does cutting an onion make us cry? Well, cutting an onion may only appear to be a physical change, but it also includes a chemical change. When an onion is sliced into, its cell walls are ruptured, causing an enzyme to release syn-propenthiol S oxide, a covalent compound containing hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, and sulfur. This compound acts as a lacrimatory agent, or in other words, something that makes you tear up. And this is because your eyes react to the sulfur in the compound and try to expel it from it. To start the cooking process, I like to start with basmati rice. I put 1 cup of basmati rice, 1 1/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of ghee, Indian clarified butter, and a couple shakes of salt into an Instapot, and I cook it at high pressure for 4 minutes, and then let it naturally release. The one issue with using an Instapot is getting the lid on. A pressure cooker is an instrument that uses chemistry to its advantage. A pressure cooker takes a liquid and evaporates it into a gas by adding heat and separating the molecules from each other. A large quantity of gas accumulates in the pot and lots of pressure is formed. Pressure is defined as force per unit area, or the amount of molecules weighing down on a certain location. Since there are so many molecules transferring heat in the pressure cooker, the rice cooking process is generally quick. Talking about rice cooking, rice is generally cooked by heating up in a container full of hot water or vapor. This is because the outer layers of rice are practically crystallized starches that are somewhat inedible. To make the rice soft, it must go through the process of gelatinization. Gelatinization is a chemical process during which the starch granules absorb a bunch of water and lose their crystallinity. In the Instant Pot, the crystals absorb the water vapor and dissolve, causing the rice to become soft. Off to the stove now, where I pour a generous helping of avocado oil into a pan under medium-high heat. I like to toast my spices before using them, so I throw in my turmeric, my coriander seeds, my cumin, and my garam masala into toast. Next, I like to let the onions sweat out, a term that means letting the onions release their water as they cook in the pan. Now, this chemical reaction has two very important parts: heat transfer and the actual sweating process. Heat is defined as the movement of energy from one substance to another. In cooking, this is demonstrated by the heating surface transferring heat to the food that is being cooked. There are three main ways heat transfers from the stove. There is conduction, when energy is transferred directly from the hot pan into the food. There's convection, when hot air or liquid circulates around the food to transfer energy from all around. And radiation, when microwaves or radio waves are sent into the food and create energy. The onions are heated up at first by convection, as they are directly touching the hot pan and energy is directly flowing from the pan into the onions. When the onions sweat, the protein and cell walls within the onion are denatured by this energy, causing them to break down and release their water into the pan. To speed up the process of cooking the onions, I like to throw about 1/4 cup of water into the pan. As you can see, when the water is put in the pan, it immediately evaporates. This is due to the heat from the pan causing the water molecules to move faster and more freely, causing a phase change from water to gas. As the lid is put on, the vapor in the pan speeds up the cooking process because it allows the onions to experience more convection heat from the gas molecules. These gas molecules surround the pan and cause the onions to cook quicker. Next up, throw in the paneer. I usually put the paneer in the pan when the onions are about 3/4 of the way done. And as soon as you put it in, you have to stir to make sure that all the spices get on the paneer. Finally, I like to throw in the frozen peas. As soon as the peas hit the pan, you can see they sublimate, a process of turning directly from solid to gas. At this point, I'd like to turn the gas and stove off and just use the residual heat in the pan to thaw the rest of the peas out, and this will also just keep the rest of the food warm in the process. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have time to plate it as good as I wanted to, but boy, for what it lacks in appearance, it just tastes of a warm day at my grandma's house enjoying a good plate of food. It's probably one of my favorite dishes in the world, and if you've never tried it before, I think you should really look into making it.